So today we're going to review the 25 positive thoughts, and hopefully you remember some of it. We made a start last time, I believe. So let me share the screen with you. If you don't understand this, please let me know. Um, so the Kusal thoughts or positive thoughts that gives us positive karma, there are 25 thoughts. So these thoughts are very uh, closely related, and some are quite different. Um, but I want you to understand the meaning on column C, and if you can remember the Pali word as well, so that you can, uh, you know, relate to those words when you hear them from other monks or anyone else who talks about this subject of the Buddhist psychology or Abhidhamma. Um, so the first thought is called Shraddha. Shraddha is known as faith. Okay, so that's a thought. So faith is a thought that we exercise when we do religious things or when we study religion. Especially in this context, in Buddhist context, we are exercising this thought whenever we pray to Buddha, Dhamma, or Sangha. Okay, or do any religious activity. So faith is a thought that we need to exercise in order to achieve nirvana. And sati is the mindfulness or awareness, okay, of the present moment. So when you're aware of what you're doing in the present moment, then at that moment, just know that your thought named sati is in at work. Okay, so because of sati thought, you can become aware in the present moment. That's what that thought means. Sati means being able to uh, kind of detect what's happening in the present moment. So it could be focusing on your body posture, focusing on what you're saying or doing in the present moment is sensed by the sati thought. Then the next thought is called hiri. The thought hiri means preventing doing bad actions. So the opposite of hiri thought, here is the Pali word. Um, the opposite of that is willingness to do bad action, right? Which is akusal thought, which is a negative thought. It creates negative karma. But the opposite of that is called hiri, which is number 3 thought, which helps you to prevent doing bad actions. So when you're about to do something bad, and if you have a sudden thought saying, I shouldn't do this because it's a bad action or gives me bad karma, then that thought is created with the help of hiri thought. Okay, which is a kusal thought. It creates positive karma. The next thought, number 4, is otappa. Otappa meaning scared to do bad action. So when you have fear of doing bad actions or thinking bad thoughts, that fear is generated by that fear is generated by the otappa thought. Okay, so I mean, even if you can't remember the names of these words, if you understand the meaning, then you can give your own names for it. Okay, because we all have different way of describing our thoughts based on how we feel about them, based on how we sense them. So the otapa thought, which is a Pali word, which is when you feel scared to do bad action because of knowing its consequences, or because of fear of going to be born in hell, or anything like that. Whatever the fear is, whatever the root cause of fear is, if there's a thought that's preventing you of doing something bad, that thought is called otappa. The fifth one is alobha. I'm sure you all felt about or experienced this thought somewhat when you're, because most of you are very generous, okay? Most of you are very kind. And when you feel generous, when you feel sharing, like for example, when you're playing those games, Roboblocks, and you want to share your points with other friends, you're exercising this alobha thought, okay? That's that thought means not getting attached to anything or anyone. So the way to not get attached is to give things that you feel attached to, right? When you feel attached to something very dear to you, and if you can, um, rationalize in your mind to give that to someone, right? So when you feel you're attached to your favorite toys or favorite dress or shoes or whatever it is, and if you rationalize by giving this to someone in need, you're practicing the alobha thought. Alobha thought means not getting attached to anything or anyone. Okay, and in Buddhism, this is the fundamental thought that we need to practice in order to stop this never-ending cycle of rebirth. So our mind is constantly being attached to other thoughts, right? And that attachment is created or initiated by this alobha thought. So basically, sorry, the attachment is eradicated or removed by this alobha thought. So we need to practice as often as possible giving. Okay, giving of our time to the benefit of others, giving of our material things, yeah, that we hold dear to. It's not like it's not the same when you give things because um, you don't want it anymore. That kind of giving doesn't really exercise this thought much. Okay, when you really attach to something that you dear to, and if you can find some sort of rationalization to distance your attachment to that object, or even feelings, okay, and in that moment you're exercising this alobha thought, which is not getting attached to anything or anyone.
Ranesh
So
Mama,
yes, Baba.
what do you mean by not getting attached to anyone? Does that mean um
Yeah,
like when like
yeah. So let me explain what I mean by that. So um, if you can imagine that this world is created um, by a computer software, okay? um, I'm sure you play games on your computer. When you play a game, in that moment you're attached to that character, right? You're in your whole mind is actually in the game when you're playing it. In that moment, it's so real to you that you actually become part of that character. So if someone tell you don't get attached to that character, you might find it difficult to do that, right? So um, like that, Buddha says that this world is also like a computer game, because this world is created by uh, software codes called energy. Okay, so your computer game is created by software codes called nodes and ones. Okay, but like that, this world is created by energy, and there are 169 energy types that created this world and other worlds like it. So because um, the world is created by energy, even our body and our mind is created by energy. The nature of energy is that it constantly changes. And that's why we can't stay happy or sad for longer. Okay, because we don't control it. The other cause and effect energies do. So because of that, we must consciously not get attached to emotions or material objects or people, because Musad says that even our body, this physical body that we call ours, is also made of energy, and that energy constantly changes. That's why we get old, even if we don't like it. We can't help it. We can't stop it. We can't stop us. Our bodies getting sick, old, um, or losing kind of its beauty. Um, it's because we don't control it. It's the nature of this energetic world that we are in. So because of that, we have to practice detachment, because this detachment thought is what connects us to the next a world or next life. And Busad says that the only way to end this never-ending cycle is to remove the thought from our mindset that calls us to the next life, okay, to the next body, um, which is the lobha thought. So the opposite of lobha is alobha. Alobha means detachment. Lobha means attachment. So it's done at a thought level. Okay, there is very very high level energy. Okay, it's our mind and thoughts that binds us to the next life, and it's important to uh, practice detachment or exercise these positive thoughts so that we can stop our mind from being attached to the next thought um, when we achieve nirvana. So achieving nirvana means, our never-ending cycle of rebirth is actually stopped. So let me quickly jump to a slide that will explain this attachment. Okay, one moment. It's important to understand what I mean by this thought and attachment, how they relate. Do you think that's important to understand, or are you okay? Do you want me to explain that a bit further?
I think yes, please.
Yeah. Okay, sure. Let me just explain this slide to you. Then I think you'll understand what I mean by thought and mind and how it binds to the next thought and mind. So I'm trying to explain here. If I start at the bottom, this view from the side row, this is the relationship between mind and thought. Okay, so the black line is like the foundation of the thoughts energies. So these are all energy. The black line supposed to be your mind, and mind has three states. Okay, it has a beginning, middle, and end. That's why it's in these three lines. So beginning is this line here, middle, which is the duration, is the middle line, and then the end is the last line, and they all have the same uh, length of time in each three states. So your mind or vibration has these three states. It has a beginning, middle, and end, or appearance, or appear, duration, and disappear. Beginning, middle, or end. However you say it, it only has those three states. And that's like, if you zoom into your mind, this is the true nature of it. That's what I'm trying to show you here. If you zoom into one of your um, um, vibrational state of the mind, this is what it looks like. So the mind has three states, which has a beginning, middle, and end. And all these other colors are the thoughts, which also starts with the mind. Uh, it also stays with the mind, and it disappears with the mind also. So your thoughts and your mind energies. So mind and thoughts are two different energy forms, according to Dhamma, according to Buddha's teaching. And because your mind is one energy type and your thoughts are different energy type, and we in this lesson we are learning about the thoughts only. We're not we're not learning about the 89 different energies of mind. So there are 89 mind categories that different people experience in different circumstances. Um, uh, we're not talking about those 89 types. We're talking about the thoughts that occur in those mind energy. So if you think of mind as a foundation of a house, right? And thoughts are the walls and the roof that's built on the foundation. Um, that's what you're seeing here. So you cannot have the walls and the roof without the foundation. So the black line is the foundation, which is your mind energy, and thoughts are the 7 different thoughts which we haven't covered yet that occurs in the mind. So this is a zoom in version of the mind energy, mind vibration. When that ends, another mind vibration will begin and sustain and end. Begin, sustain, end. Begin, sustain, end, like that. And this happens very, very fast. Okay, this happens like when you blink. This happens, 1 trillion times. That's how. I mean, it's even faster than that. Okay, we can't really understand how fast it is. But every moment to moment, this vibrational energy appears and disappears very, very quickly. And that appearance and disappearance of energy is what causes things to change over time. That's what causes us to um, get old and get sick and die, um, and everything around us to um, uh, decay and change over time. It's because of this uh, very, very fasting nature of energy. And because of this energy, nothing is permanent because we can't control this energy. There is a universal law. Okay, there is the true nature of the universe. The universe is made of these energies. So not the mind and the thoughts. Mind and the thoughts only exist in a living being, but universal energy are called rupa. Rupa means uh, form, which is like matter. Okay, there are 28 energies that creates matter. Okay, which are very fine, which science has not detected. Science has no instruments to detect those energy levels. Only your developed mind can see these vibrational energy. That's why you have to meditate. Only Buddhist meditation can develop your brain to a level where you can see these energy levels and these vibrations. So that's why you have to practice the particular Buddhist meditation technique called vipassana or insight meditation. And only those meditation techniques will help you develop your mind to a level where it gives you the vision or the mind's eye to see those vibrational energy all around us. When you see that energy, the Dhamma that we're talking about, these thoughts and vibrations, you don't need to learn it because you see it yourself. And when you see everything vibrates at a very, very infinite speed, you realize, you come to your own realization that nothing is real, everything is made of energy, and therefore it doesn't exist. So therefore, we shouldn't get attached to it. So by nature, you are practicing in that moment this alobha thought, because now you know, because you're seeing the true nature of energy in your mind's eye, you know that nothing is real. There's no person called Ranesh or Kavish or Onali. There's energy, right? And this energy, we just, we have this energy for like 60, 70, 80 years, and then we die. When we die, what happens is our mind get born into another realm if you don't achieve nirvana in that moment. The next vibration will be in a different realm. We talked about 31 realms on our previous lessons. That's called rebirth. When our mind get born into another body in another realm, the moment we left this body, it's called rebirth, um, and our cycle continues. And the whole purpose of Buddhism is to stop that mind being reborn into another realm, because otherwise, you will continue to suffer, um, especially if you go to hell, um, for a very long time. Okay, and the only way to end that suffering, the true way to end that suffering, is to achieve what's called nirvana, which means you don't get reborn again. So, in an effort to do that, we have to understand the positive thoughts that we need to exercise in our mind so that we can achieve nirvana. So we can collect the enough kusal points or positive points for us to help to achieve nirvana. And those, just like in a game where you collect life points, in this world, in this human life, we can also collect positive karma points that will help us catapult into the direction of nirvana. And that's what these thoughts are. These thoughts will help you to get there. So when you understand these thoughts, I can tell you 10 actions that you can do to constantly experience these thoughts in your mind, so that you can create more and more kusal points. Just like when you play games and you like to earn more points. Well, in this real life that we're living in, we also have to collect kusal points. And to do that, we have to learn about these positive thoughts, and we have to know what 10 actions Buddha told us to do, so that we automatically earn kusal points. And we can talk about that on our next lesson, but I just want to quickly go over these different thoughts so that you're aware of the meaning at least. Okay, so alobha means not getting attached to anything or anyone. Adosa means not getting upset to anything or anyone, which means practicing loving kindness. Okay, when you practice loving kindness, you don't, you're practicing adosa thoughts, or you exercising adosa thought, which means not getting upset to anything or anyone. So when you're practicing loving kindness to others, to yourself, there's no way you're going to experience dislike thoughts or angry thoughts in your mind. It's like when you want to plant beautiful flowers in your garden of thoughts of mind, you got to take the weeds out, and the weeds are the negative thoughts that we talked about, the 14 akusal thoughts in red that we covered, these ones. So dosa is the weed, which is dislike, anger. The opposite of that is adosa. Adosa means loving kindness. Okay, not getting upset to anything or anyone, practicing loving kindness. And then tatra majjatata. So all of these thoughts needs to be balanced in terms of level of energy and timing. The balance is created by this thought called tatra majjatata, which means keeping all thoughts in the mind in a balanced state. So when you practice too much of shraddha and not enough of prajna or wisdom. So if you have too much faith but not enough wisdom, then you can be tricked into doing bad things in the name of faith. Okay, like for example, people who commit suicide in other religions in the name of faith or in the name of their god, they're doing it because they have too much faith, but they don't have wisdom. Wisdom is the ability to determine what's right and wrong on your own. So when you don't have that, but you have too much of this, you can be trained to be a suicide bomber. Okay, so that's how bad it is. So that's why you need to have the balance, and the balance is created by tatra majjatata thought. So you got to exercise that, and that's again done through meditation. So the other ones are, I mean, when we say the word kaya, kaya means thought. I told you there's two energies, thought and mind. Well, when you say the Pali word kaya, kaya means thoughts, and chitta means mind. Okay, just understand those two words because they're going to get repeated further down. So kaya means kaya means yes, Sonali, you got a question?
Oh no, I don't.
Okay.
I don't know why I put that on there.
No worries. So kaya means thought energy. Chitta means mind energy. Just remember that. And then all you have to do is remember the word come after that, which is the same on both. Pasad means lightness. Okay, so there's lightness in your thought and in your mind. That's often happens when you're relaxing. Okay, lightness feeling, or when you're meditating. So you can experience that thought when you're doing good actions. Also, kaya lahuta, chitta lahuta means kaya lahuta, chitta lahuta means relaxation. Lahuta means relaxing nature of the thought and the mind. So basically, kaya lahuta, chitta lahuta means those two. And then you got kaya mudita, chitta mudita. It's actually, yeah, kaya mudita, chitta mudita means softness, like, very, very softness. Okay. So basically, when you feel a soft kind of cloth, that softness feeling, that feeling is felt using these thoughts. Also, when you're practicing your when you're practicing your meditation technique, then or your breathing meditation, your breath can be very thin and soft as your concentration sharpens. So that's another example of when you feel this thought. But just know that lahuta means relaxing, pasadi means lightness, and then kaya means in your thoughts energy, and chitta means your mind energy. The other key word is mudita. Mudita means soft nature of the thought and the mind. The other one is kaya kammanyata and chitta kammanyata. Kammanyata means healthiness of the thought and the mind. Kaya means thought energy, chitta means mind energy. Kammanyata means healthiness. So this healthiness is like motivation, right? When you feel motivated, you feel like your mind and your thoughts are very healthy and very strong, mentally strong. So when you say you're mentally strong, you exercise in these thoughts, or you feel in these thoughts in that moment, or you're thinking about them. The other one is chitta pagunyata, kaya pagunyata, chitta pagunyata means proficiency. When you're confident about doing something on your own without the help of others, that confidence is created by these two thoughts. Kaya pagunyata, chitta pagunyata. So it means that you're proficient in what you're doing. So you don't need the help of others to do it. You're confident. And then the other one is kaya ujjukata, chitta ujjukata. Ujjukata means consistency. Okay. The consistency of the thought and consistency of the mind energy is exercised by these two thoughts. So when you're doing something consistently without breaking the pattern, that consistency, thoughts and mind is created by these two thoughts. And then you got the last six is samma vacha. Samma vacha means this is one of the middle path kind of stages. Samma vacha means the thought that prevent you from saying bad words. There are four categories of bad words that we say, or we shouldn't say. One is lies. Second one is swear. third one is gossip, fourth one is bad mouth or defame someone, right? So these four categories of words gives you bad karma. So if you have a thought saying you shouldn't lie, you shouldn't swear, you shouldn't gossip, you shouldn't badmouth someone else, that thought that you shouldn't do that thought is created by samma vacha thought. And then the next one is samma kammanta. Samma kammanta is another action of the middle path. Samma kammanta means preventing bad action from one's body. So, there are three actions that we can do with our body according to the 5 precepts, right? So those actions like killing a living being, adultery, right? And also drinking alcohol or anything like that. So those three actions, stealing, sorry, is those three actions are basically classed as bad, and prevention of thoughts to do those actions is done by this samma kammanta thought. And then samma ajiva. Samma ajiva thought is preventing earning money from money by breaking the 5 precepts. So if you're doing a job that earns you money by either selling animals or killing animals, or lying or cheating others, if you earn money this way, it's bad, or prostitution, or selling drugs or alcohol, or stealing, right? These are 4 ways or 5 ways of earning money by causing bad karma. So when you're about to do any of those things, and if there's a thought that comes to your mind saying you shouldn't do this because it gives you bad karma, or whatever the prevention reason is, that reasoning or that thought is created by samma ajiva thought. And that's a kusal thought. That's a positive karma thought. And then last 3 are very important. We need to exercise these 3 thoughts as much as possible, and I think most of you are doing it. Karuna means compassion, helping others when in pain. So if you feel pain of someone else, within you, because that person is in pain. So if you can relate to pain of others, if you can feel others' pain when they're in pain, that thought, that pain full kind of feeling is felt by this karuna thought. Karuna thought or compassionate thoughts is a very important thought to achieve nirvana, because it makes you not selfish. Okay, it basically means that you're compassionate, you're caring of others, and it creates the best version of you. It gets the best out of you, because no one likes selfish people. So if you're compassionate and if you can really help someone in every opportunity you can get, and remember, when you're helping someone, it doesn't mean you basically give everything you have, but it means that because you have enough, you can help someone else too, right? Emotionally, with money, with possession, whatever, in any way, because there's so many ways we can help others. But in order to do that, in order to create that act of helping someone, you have to feel their pain, and that feeling of feeling someone else's pain is created by this karuna thought or compassion thought. The next one is mudita. Now, mudita thought is very important, because if you don't exercise this, you can be jealous. You can create jealousy, which is opposite of mudita. So it's important to practice this thought, and the way to practice that, well, it means sympathetic joy or being happy when others are happy. So if someone you know or someone you don't know are doing well and they're happy, you got to find way to connect with them and be happy for them. You should be happy um, in the same way as the same thing happened to you. You know how that will make you feel. Just like that, you should try to relate to their happiness and imagine that feelings happening to you. And when you do that, you tell your brain that you have enough, that you're satisfied, you're grateful for what you have, and you had to connect with others' happiness that way, and that is done by the mudita thought. And lastly, the last kusal thought is called prajna or panna. It's actually pronounced prajna. Um, and then that's called the wisdom in English. So this is the wisdom comes when you developed your panna thought, which can only, well, the true wisdom comes when you develop your mind through meditation. Okay, that's when you see this energy. If you try to see everything as energy in the world, then the prajna is there, the wisdom is there, because you won't get attached to it. When is energy, you don't get attached to it. There's nothing to get attached because you've seen the true nature of things. And when you do that, you're developing your wisdom, and you won't get attached or detached from it. Well, you don't get attached or you don't dislike it. I mean, so you basically practice in detachment when you do that. So those are the 25 kusal thoughts. Did you understand all of those things? Do you have any questions about them?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah, please ask.
Can you scroll down a bit, like?
Yeah.
Thank you. You know where it says Sama Ajiwa?
Yeah.
It's like, you know, hired assassins, where you can hire them to by paying them like quite a lot of cash to kill someone. Is that also bad?
Yeah, well,
Is that one part of it?
so when you hire someone to kill someone, the person who's being hired is basically doing the karma in because he's in a profession to kill people for money, right? And that's breaking the first precepts from his perspective, right? So he's basically in the akusal section. But if he stops that profession saying this is akusal and I shouldn't do this, and then at that moment he's exercising samma ajiva. But if you hire someone like that to kill someone, then you are not in any of these sections. You are actually exercising the akusal thought of dvesha or dislike or anger. Because of your dislike in that person, you dislike them enough to kill them. And in that moment, you're exercising those thoughts, and also you're hiring someone, you're influencing someone with money to kill them, and that's also means you're exercising ditti or mityadushti, which is the wrong view, because you have the wrong view about that person. You know it generates too much anger in you because you're not seeing that person as energy, right? You're disliking them, thinking that's a real person and they've done so much bad things to you, and you want to take revenge. So all of these, really, all of these negative thoughts, or most of them, are actually exercising that action by you. But from that person's not really doing it because they dislike anger. They're doing it as a profession, but they're also using the wrong view, right? They're practicing the ditti thought because they're not seeing uh, that thing, that action of killing someone is as a wrong thing. So that's a wrong view, and they're doing it for money, right? Because of greed, and they also doing it because they have this thought anuttappa, because boldness to do wrong thing. So he's not scared to do kill someone, right? And he doesn't have ahirikya, which is willingness to think wrong thoughts, and he's doing he has moha, which is ignorance of karma, right? All of these things, well, most of these things are in his mindset also. So that's how I can relate to what you said according to these thoughts. Does that clarify?
Yes. And Mama,
Yeah.
do you know the meditation that you said will let you see the vibrations everywhere?
Yes.
Does that take a long time to master it? Do you need to be like a monk to do
No.
it?
So we can actually go into that in the future lessons, those type of meditation. But there's a sutra called Sammaditthi Sutra. Uh, no, Sammaditthi, sorry, Satipatthana Sutra. And that sutra has 21 of those meditation focuses that you can do. When you learn all 21, you can do them throughout the day. So just to give you a quick overview of those 21 categories. So those 21 meditation thoughts falls into 4 categories. Okay. Um, so the 4 categories are being mindful about your body and body movements, being mindful about your thoughts, being mindful about your feelings, called feeling meditation. That's the one I want you to learn. I think we kind of went over that in a previous session. And the other one is called Dhamma meditation. So some of the Dhamma teachings you can meditate on. When you meditate on these categories, there are 21 different types. So 14 meditation types under the focusing on the body. One meditation type when you focus on the mind. One meditation type when you focus on the feelings. 5 meditation types when you focus on the Dhamma. Dhamma is like the teachings of the Buddha. So when you do that, you're practicing the 21 types. And we can go through some of those in future sessions. So you can practice them. But to answer your question, Buddha says in the sutra, if someone practices one of these meditation techniques continuously for 7 days, they can achieve nirvana. If someone can do this meditation for 7 weeks, they can achieve nirvana. Like that, he goes up to 7 years. So 7 days, 7 weeks, 7 months, or 6 months, like that, it stretches to 7 years maximum. So in this life, we can achieve nirvana. And before you achieve nirvana, you will see those vibrational energy using special powers that you get through this meditation.
Yeah, that sounds very interesting. Sounds quite interesting.
Yeah, no, it is. I mean, to be honest, if you're intelligent, you have to practice these things because that's where you excel. So when you practice these meditations, you're not helping just this life, but you're helping your entire life cycle by shortening it. Because when you study and you achieve like the highest level of education system, you only help in this life for you to be better, to live in a comfortable life. But if you practice these vipassana meditation techniques, you don't just help yourself with this life, but for every life, to be born. So you're actually shortening your number of rebirths the more you practice these meditation. If you practice this meditation for 1 minute, you're actually reducing the number of life cycles by billionth of times. Okay, so it's important to practice meditation whenever you can. It's not a difficult thing. When you learn these techniques, you'll find that you can do it every time you have a thought, every time you have a feeling, every time you're walking, every time you're sitting down, every time you're laying in the bed, you can do these insight meditation. So it's important to learn about them, practice them. Once you learn it and master it, your inner peace is getting more and more, and your actually samsaric journey is getting reduced by so many number of lifetimes. Only you raised your hand.
Is there more than 25 Kusal thoughts, or is it just 25?
is exactly 25. Out of the 52, 25 are Kusal, 14 are Akusal, which are negative thoughts. And the
Okay.
rest are different ones. We haven't covered them yet. But I want to know, I
Oh,
want to,
okay.
because I want to explain what good and bad thoughts are first, so that you can relate to them first. And then I want to go into, the other remaining thoughts, and then I want to go into meditation techniques to practice these kusal thoughts. So hopefully that was interesting for you. And to be honest, this is for intelligent people. So if you can understand what I'm saying, then you can do these things. And only in Buddhism that you can learn about these thoughts and these meditation techniques. So that's why you're very lucky to even hear about them. I don't think anyone in your age group have learned about these things or heard about them, especially in English. So you should be very fortunate and very blessed to hear about them and learn them and practice them to shorten your own life sansaric journey. So that's why this effort. So what I'm doing right now is also part of the 10 kusal actions. Because remember, when I talk about these things, in your minds, you don't have negative thoughts, do you? You have positive thoughts. You have these kusal thoughts. And that's also a form of meditation. So we are, contemplating on these thoughts. We are thinking about them. We are asking questions about them. That creates kusal energy inside you. That creates kusal karma inside you. And the more you think about these thoughts, the more you're trying to learn them, the more you're trying to relate them to your own life, you're creating kusal thoughts, kusal karma. So there's nothing better than that. And that's why you're being born as a human being, to develop your mind to achieve nirvana through these meditation practices and these learnings. So that's why it's important to learn Dhamma as a priority. I mean, we go to school, for 10, 15 years, but, how much time do we spend on learning about these things and meditation, which helps you to end your life cycle journey? And you got to reprioritize your life. You got to reprioritize your, thoughts and actions to align yourself. Obviously, you have to study well and earn money, because we have a system, which basically means you have to have money to pay your bills and to have a comfortable life. So you got to do that. But while you do that, you have to be skilled enough to manage your time to learn about these techniques and practice these meditations. Every chance you get, rather than playing games and spending time on those things. Because playing games and watching TV, etc., those things will help you to increase your samsaric journey towards the negative side than the positive. So it's important. Yes, and only you raised your hand again.
When the Buddha, before he became enlightened, did he take these all into account?
No, he
Or did he
didn't realize
suffer?
these things. He didn't realize these things before he became Buddha. He only realized them after. So as a Buddha, only a Tathagata Buddha can know about this level of detail about the energies that exist all around us. So he became a Buddha, then he realized those things, and then he taught that to various people in various ways. And some people, by hearing some of these knowledge, they went to nirvana. Some had to practice the meditation, because remember, because we lived so many previous lives, we have collected a lot of kusal points. And if you collect so much kusal points in your next life, let's say you need like 99 kusal points to achieve nirvana. Well, if you die in this life by creating 98, the next life you just need to collect one kusal, and then you achieve nirvana, or two. So we all have different levels of kusal points that we collected throughout our previous lives. And like that, some people became nirvana or went to nirvana when they're 7 years old, because they heard Buddha's teachings. But because on their previous life they completed to that level, you know, at 7 years, Sopaka went to nirvana, right? And he didn't learn about these things. But when you go to nirvana, you will see this truth. It's like sat nav, right? So all these teaching is like sat nav journey. Let's say I want to go to London, and I put my sat nav on. It tells me a rough guide of what roads to take. So this teaching about Abhidhamma is like that. It's the guidance of how to get to nirvana. And this meditation technique is like a guidance on how to get to nirvana. But when you practice meditation, when you go on the road to London, you will see the details of the shops and everything around you, and then you can read the signs and you can recognize what they are. Just like that, when you achieve nirvana, you will see these thoughts and energies, because you're close to it. You're on the path. Because you're on the path, you can see the energies yourself. But everyone who goes to nirvana will see these energies and understand them and understand the vibration. Yes, Tin and Sunny, you raised your hand.
Because as children we're learning about this kind of stuff and we're born into the Buddhism religion,
Yeah,
does that mean we're closer to nirvana than people who aren't?
definitely, definitely. You have to spend a lot of kusal points to be born at a time where Buddhism still exists in the world. That's one thing. That's one criteria. The other one is to be born into a Buddhist country where Buddhism is practiced. Imagine if you've been born in, like Saudi Arabia. You can't even hear any of these words unless you go YouTube, right? But even then, you've been brainwashed to not to even look at these things. So first is, you spend a lot of your kusal points to be born into a time where Buddhism still exists, and into a country where Buddhism is practiced, into a family where Buddhism is practiced. And it's because you've been born into a Buddhist family, Buddhist culture, a time, that you can hear these things. You're even focused on these things. And it's because of your previous kusal karma that you can do that you've been fortunate enough to not just born into it, but to be here this moment, to listen into this thing. It's very important that you spend a lot of kusal points, because just imagine, how many people came to this class, how many are staying, how many are gone. That's because they don't have that much kusal energy in them. So but we all come to Buddhism at different stages in our life, and that's because of previous kusal points or practices. So you should be really fortunate that you're hearing these things. You're born into a Buddhist family in a time Buddhism still exists, because there'll be time where you can't even hear Buddhist words, because other religions will have wiped everyone out. That's like maybe 2-3 thousand into the future, right? So it's important, before the Buddhism completely expires from this world, that you learn it, you practice it, and you practice it daily before we die, because we don't know when we're going to die. Our life is very, very fragile. We think we're going to live for 90 years, 60 years. You could be dying in the next breath, based on your karmic energy of life expectancy. We all have a life expectancy or expiry date that we are born with based on our previous karma. If we kill a lot of animals, or harm a lot of beings, or break the first rule, we'll have a very short life. That's why some kids die before they're born or immediately after they're born, right? It's because that's all the life energy they brought into this world. So you have so much energy. We don't know what your expiry date is. So it's important to practice these things, these energies, dhamma, these meditation techniques, to break your desire, or to end your desire to achieve nirvana. So that's important to realize, and I'm glad you're asking these questions. You're interested in them. is very, very important, because you don't get to hear these things otherwise. And it's for your own, nirvana journey that you should focus on these things, no one else's. Do you have any questions before we end? It was very, very interesting today. I realize you're asking questions, and you're connecting with this Dhamma very closely. So, and that's a good thing. That's a more Kusal action. So I'm really happy about that. So feel free to ask anything if there's any doubt.
Sorry,
Yeah.
at the start, I think a kid said someone said that, but when you said that we shouldn't get attached, I forgot what you said. Sorry.
Yeah, for attachment. So you mean the alobha thought?
Yeah, not getting attached to anything or anyone.
Yeah. So this is not something that you do consciously. Okay. When you practice the detachment thoughts or practices, for example, one way to practice detachment is when you feel angry or upset, all you have to do is find the location of the feeling in your body, whether it's your head or your heart. When you know where the location of your anger is, you focus on it in your mind. And you say, don't get attached, don't get attached, don't get attached, like over and over again, maybe like 10, 15 times. You can say that in a harsher tone or in a loving tone, whichever works for you. Okay, you can try it and see because by doing that, your anger should die down, your frustration should die down or disappear. And that's one way to teach your mind, don't get attached to that feeling. And when you do that, what you're teaching your mind to do is you're not going to go off on a tangent and blame yourself or others because of anger. You're not going to listen to the story of anger. You're just going to attack the energy of anger by saying, don't get attached. And when you do that, it's important to focus on the feeling or the energy first. And when you treat your negative feelings like that, you're teaching your mind, you're not going to entertain this anger anymore. Okay, you're going to attack it with the tools of don't get attached every time. And by doing that, you're teaching your mind not to make you feel those angry feelings going forward. Instead, make you feel neutral. So when you do this for like a couple of weeks, you'll experience you get less and less angry or frustrated, and instead you feel neutral. And that's immediate effect or karma, kusal karma of practicing detachment. And you can do that from now, and you will see that your mind become very strong and healthy mind, and you won't react to little things like you used to. And no one can control your mind because your mind is very, very healthy and solid when you practice detachment. But in Buddhism, Buddha says you should practice this kind of detachment for positive thoughts and negative thoughts. So for desire and for dislike. Okay, when you do that, that means your whole life become neutral. You don't suddenly become happy and excited and then die down, or upset and anger and die down. You don't go up and down like that. You become neutral. And by becoming neutral, you create less and less negative karma and positive karma. So that's what I want for you, for everyone, to live your life in a neutral way, and thereby making your life completely peaceful for the rest of your life until achieving nirvana. Because by living a peaceful life, you're getting closer to nirvana. If you live a sporadic, like spurs of happiness and sadness, you're creating a lot of good and bad karma, and that can cause you distance from nirvana. So hopefully that answered your question, Kavish.
Yeah, it did. Thank you.
You're welcome. Does anyone else have questions? I mean, we're pretty much done now. Does anyone else have any question? Only Tin and Sunny?
No, we don't have any questions, but thank you for the lesson. It was very useful and it was very interesting.
Oh, it's my pleasure, and much merit to all of you for listening and paying attention and trying to make this Dhamma, part of your life, and that's the whole point of it. And may you all achieve nirvana in this lifetime itself. And with
Thank
that,
you.
thank you, and look forward to seeing you next week. Have one.
See you next week.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Mama.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.